Hey everybody! So this is part 2 of isolation and addiction. So the reason I wanted to make this a 2-part video is because yesterday I was talking about my situation where I was isolating myself on purpose. But what can happen for some people is that circumstances can change in our lives and we find ourselves isolated and feeling lonely through no fault of our own. Or we find ourselves isolated and it's not something that we would choose. So maybe there's been a breakdown in a relationship and you're single now. Or maybe someone has passed away. Or maybe you've lost your job and you're spending a lot of time at home now. Or maybe you've moved home and you're living alone for the first time. Or maybe you live with people and you're still feeling isolated. So maybe your children have got to an age where they're going off and they're doing their own thing and you're feeling you're left by yourself most of the time. And there's 2 reasons why I wanted to bring that up. So the first is that if it's true that isolation can be a cause of why we reach out for alternative ways to feel better or to feel good, then that means that nobody's immune to addiction. So please don't be judgmental about people who are in addiction, because it can happen to you. It can happen to anyone. And you have no idea of the circumstances of their life that has led them to be where they're at now. And you have no idea of where their future is going. So that was the first point. Please don't judge people who are in addiction. You have no idea, and you are not immune. You too could find that circumstances change in your life and could be in a position where you're reaching out for alternative ways to feel better, and sometimes they could be healthy and addictive ways. The second point why I wanted to bring that up is because I hate leaving things on a negative note, and I like to think that there's always an answer. So I wanted to get into, well, what can we do about it? If I was talking there and you found that you were under one of those headings, if you found that one of those situations I was describing describes where you're at, or something similar describes your situation, well, then what can we do about it? What can we do to change it? Well, the first thing I know for sure is that the only way it's going to change is if you decide that it's going to change. The only person who can change your life is you. So you need to be the person who decides, okay, enough is enough. I am going to do something about this. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to change something. And I'm going to make connections with people, because I don't want to be feeling lonely. I don't want to be isolated. And I don't want to be reaching out for other things to make me feel better. I mean, a lot of us do it with food. I know I still do. When there's evenings and I'm tired, but I'm feeling isolated, I'm feeling a little bit lonely, and I just think, oh, what's in the fridge? And people tend to think that one's okay because it's more socially acceptable and it's ready, available, and sure, everybody needs to eat. But that's something that many of us do as well. And food can become an addiction too. So what can we do about it? So if you decide, okay, something needs to change, what I would recommend is that think of the things that you enjoy doing. So I'm going back to a video that I did for boredom a while back, and I asked you to answer a couple of questions. So if you didn't see that video, it's a 2-part video. Go back and watch them. That might help. But when you're finished and you have your list of things that you enjoy doing and you like doing, if you find that you're doing those things on your own at home, or you find that you haven't done those things in a while, have a look around and see, is there ways of doing the things that you enjoy and you like with other people? Is there groups where you can do these things? So even if you like to go for a walk, is there walking groups? If you like to knit, is there knitting groups? You like to read books, is there a book club around that you can join? Reach out and see if there's like-minded people who you can do the things you enjoy with. If there is friends and family who you can reach out to, do. Make phone calls. See if you can make plans to drop in for a visit one of the evenings, because I find a lot of people, even if your life is busy, it's the evenings where you tend to feel isolated and on your own and feeling a bit lonely. So try and plan things for the evening with other people and drop in for visits, or see if they can come to you for a visit. Ask people, do they want to come over and get a curry and watch a video, or you could go over and them and have a coffee and a catch up. Or if it's a thing that it's in the evening and or getting out of the house is not something that's for you. What I used to do years ago was that I used to play online Scrabble with friends and family. So I loved that because I didn't need to get myself dressed up and looking well to leave the house. Sometimes leaving the house was a bit too daunting for me and I didn't want to do that. So I used to play the online games, and Scrabble was one of them, with friends and family. And what we did was you go on and you add each other, and there's a little chat box in the bottom. So we could be talking there, or what we do is we'd ring each other and leave it on loudspeaker while we were playing. So I was still getting that connection with people. I was having a laugh. I was doing something that I enjoy, because I do love playing Scrabble. And I was doing it with someone who I enjoyed their company. Even though I wasn't in the same room as them, we were talking on the phone. So that was the message of this video. Firstly, isolation can lead to addictive behaviours, and that includes loneliness. Isolation is not something that people always choose. Sometimes your circumstances can change and you find yourself in that situation. So don't be judgmental. That can happen to you, and please have more compassion for people who are in addiction. Secondly, if you find that you're in those situations, and maybe you haven't started reaching out for anything yet, but you're finding, oh, do you know what, I am actually hearing myself say a lot, God, I'm feeling a bit lonely, or I'm feeling isolated, or I'm feeling down, and you're missing those connections. See what is available for you to make those connections. Reach out to people who are already in your life. Reach out to friends and family for visits and phone calls. See if there's things that you enjoy doing that you can do in a group. Or like that play, if there's things that you can do online that you and someone you know enjoy doing together. See if you can do that online. And if it's a thing that you can get out, you do have time, you have energy and you can get out, volunteering is always a great way to make new friends. You're giving some support, you're giving some help, and you're meeting new people. So yeah, that's it for today. And I'll talk to you maybe tomorrow or next week. All right, bye.